Looking at myself right now. Hey everybody, I'm just waiting for you guys to get on and then we'll start our interview with a horse trainer today. Hi Kim. We also might have some questions from girls, so
Somebody pulls in.
will you take the bag off of Winston? Thanks, son. Hey guys. Hey Alicia.
Is that Alicia from Great Island?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Wait, can I say hi?
Well, yeah, come here. Come here. Hi, Alicia. Oh, sorry, Kim. All right. Welcome, everybody. We're just going to give it like one more minute, and then we'll start our interview today. Hey, Reese, will you keep time for me? Thank you, my dear. So, hi, everybody. Hi, Julie. So, my name is Kat Tedder, and I'm the program specialist here in North Platte for Girl Scouts Spirit of Nebraska. And today we are going to be interviewing Steve Sword. He's a horse trainer in North Platte. And my special guest interviewer today is Annie Bassett. And I'm going to let her tell you a little bit about herself. So without further ado, let's meet our special guest today.
Hey everyone. So I am Annie Bassett. I am originally from Oglala, Nebraska. So I am from this side of the western states. I am currently finishing up my freshman year of college down at NCTA, which is in Curtis. There I am a major in equine industry management and a minor in ag business. I'm also on the ranch horse team, so we work in versatility events, and we travel across both the state of Nebraska as well into Colorado, Oklahoma, and a lot of other places, competing with other colleges and other trainers across the country. So.
I'm Steve Sword. I'm a horse trainer here in North Platte, Nebraska. I grew up ranching and cowboying and started my training when I was 15 years old. And have competed roping and rodeoing and cutting and reining, a little bit of everything I've done with the horses.
I also forgot to mention that I am the equine specialist here for Girl Scouts Spirit of Nebraska, and I will be helping with all the horse camps this summer across Nebraska, so I hope to see some of you guys there. So Steve, how did you end up becoming a horse trainer in the beginning?
I started out, like I say, I was ranching, and I started my first colt when I was 15 years old, and started riding horses for my stepdad and my grandfather, and neighboring ranchers started bringing me their horses to start and to train.
That's awesome. So is this something that just kind of came naturally to you and you just kind of learned as you went?
Yeah, it was. My grandfather kind of helped guide me along the way and keep me out of trouble, but for the most part it was kind of a lot of trial and error.
That's awesome. So what training methods do you use, and what do you train them to do?
What we try to do here is, I like the idea of saying that we gentle and school our horses here. And we train a wide variety of horses We could have anything in here from reining to cutting or roping horses, ranch horse versatility, a little bit of anything is kind of what we work on here. My primary training is starting colt stuff.
Awesome. What opportunities have you opened up to by being a horse trainer?
Probably some of the biggest opportunities for me is one, I am self-employed, which kind of allows me to do what I want to do, and has made it to where I can provide for my family doing something that I love to do. So I never really look at it as it being a job. It's been a great experience in my life to be able to do that.
That's awesome. So does your family come out here and help you then?
Yes, my wife and my kids come out pretty regularly and help us out with the chores and help us out with some of the training and whatnot. And that is a good aspect of a lot of people don't get to take their children to their workplace. So my kids have gotten to learn how the food's put on the table, so to speak, by the fact that they get to come out here and participate.
That's awesome. How did you decide that this was a business you wanted to go into?
That was more or less just kind of sheer accident. It wasn't anything that I grew up going, I want to be a horse trainer. It just kind of, like I say, I started riding for the neighboring ranchers and stuff, and it's just kind of blossomed from there and turned into this as a full-time occupation.
That is awesome. How many hours a day do you typically work?
That really varies. Sometimes it varies depending on the season, but typically it could be range anywhere from 10 hours to 16 hours a day.
Do you work every day of the week then, or do you only work certain days?
For the most part, I would say 7 days a week. Typically, at least one day a week, we'll just try to maybe come in and do chores and do the bare necessities, but we're here pretty much 7 days a week.
What is your typical day like?
There is no typical day. We're dealing with animals and stuff, so for the most part, there just really is no typical day. You come and start chores and whatever, but just like yesterday, for instance, the horses knocked over a gate. I had to repair that gate before I could even start chores, and get them back to their rightful pen, so to speak.
Yeah.
And so there just really is no atypical day that you're going to come here, and that is one of the things that I love about my job, is the fact there is no steady routine. There's always a variety.
That's awesome. So what are some of the pros and cons about being a horse trainer?
Some of the pros and cons of being a horse trainer, the pros are the fact that I do kind of being my own boss and being self-employed. I can choose to go and do things with my family when I want to. Some of the cons of being a horse trainer is there are days that you put in 16 hours a day. You're here 7 days a week. Trying to meet some of the client's expectations with a horse that potentially just doesn't have the ability to meet their expectations. So a lot of times that just is difficult to explain or to get them to understand some of those things.
What are some, not really like abilities, but what are some skills that you have obtained over the years that you think are really good skills that everyone should have? Or
anybody, not just in the profession of horse training, but anybody who is looking at the idea of wanting to be self-employed or have a business of their own, work ethic, and be willing to put in the hours that it's going to take, and be willing to work weeks on end without taking a day off. And it's rewarding in the end because of the fact that you're getting to do something that you love or you enjoy doing, but it's work ethic is at the utmost importance.
I love that. How do you market your business to attract new people?
Nowadays, I don't really do much for marketing. Word of mouth has been the best tool for me nowadays. Earlier in my career, the internet and stuff like that wasn't really that available, so we utilized putting up flyers in feed stores, tax stores, running ads in newspapers and stuff like that. But essentially, it didn't seem like it took very long, and I didn't need to utilize those tools because there was a high demand for a horse trainer, and especially for somebody that was willing to start colts. So essentially, just word of mouth is my best tool now. However, I would recommend anybody coming into the profession utilize the internet and Facebook. Those are all things that are very good tools to have.
Awesome. What has been the most rewarding thing about being able to be an entrepreneur in your own boss?
Probably one of the most rewarding things is the fact that this is my hobby. So to have my job be my hobby, I said that there's not a lot of people that can go to work and go, man, I love this. This is I would go to work every day of the week, and and I feel like it's rewarding in the aspect that I don't ever truly feel like I work. It's my hobby. I enjoy what I'm doing.
Awesome. How has being an entrepreneur affected your family life?
Well, there again, it has its ups and downs and its bonuses. One of the things that is difficult is there's times where I put in 16 hours a day, so I don't always get to spend a lot of time with my family. But the bonuses to that is my family can come to my work. And it has its struggles with the idea that we're here 7 days a week. We can't just take off whenever we feel like it.
What are some mistakes that you might have made along the way, but you also learned from in your time here?
And that's an interesting question. I don't feel like I've made mistakes. I've just tried to learn from my errors and not repeat those. So the biggest thing I could say is learn from those mistakes, to the idea that you're not going to repeat that and continually repeat it thinking that you're going to get a different result. So be open-minded and be humble and be willing to make adjustments.
What has been some of your favorite experiences with working with horses and being a horse trainer in the past so many years that you've been doing it?
I look back, and some of the most wonderful things that I can look back on and go, I've had several horses that I've trained, and the owners have went on and won world championships with those horses, and to know that I was a part of that, even though maybe I wasn't necessarily the one that showed him or won the world championship on him, but the idea that knowing I was a part of that and a part of their success with that horse. But equally as well as when I see somebody that is maybe just a trail rider and they're having great, wonderful success. So the feedback that I get from the clients, they just are enjoying their horse and able to go do what they want to do with their horse and enjoy their hobbies.
That's really awesome. Can you describe a time when you felt like you were failing, and how did you recover from it?
There again, I don't feel like I've ever truly had a time where I felt like I was failing, but obviously we're all going to make mistakes with things. So just trying not to repeat those mistakes and learn from them. And probably one of the most difficult things for me has been, I've been successful as a trainer, but being successful as a businessman. So I would encourage anybody looking at getting into this to learn how to promote themselves by maybe getting a degree in marketing and having some business background and maybe even taking some business management classes. Those are struggles that I think a lot of folks aren't aware of as being a horse trainer, because it's not all about training horses. At the end of the day, you still have to go home and do bookkeeping and be able to manage your finances. And so those are some of the struggles, and there again, I don't always look at it as failures. We just have to learn from those mistakes. And so I would encourage anybody to maybe not repeat how to not even have those mistakes be a part of it, is to have a good background with business management.
Okay. So how have you dealt with the naysayers or people who didn't want to support you in what you're trying to do as an entrepreneur?
That is interesting, and I've always felt like the naysayers or the people that weren't real supportive of my endeavors just made me work harder and stronger to maybe try to prove them wrong, that I was capable of doing this, and that there is value in what I do for a living. So, and there's always going to be some of that out there that folks go, because it is my hobby, they don't look, and I don't look at it as a job. They maybe don't look at it as a job. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, we're still putting in a lot of hours, and it is work. You're going to sweat, and you're going to, you're going to be happy, you're going to be sad, you're going to get mad and frustrated. But at the end of the day, it's still something that you enjoy doing and love doing. So they've encouraged me to just try harder to show them that I could.
So what has your support system been like throughout these years? I know you talk about your family all the time. So have those people always been probably your biggest support system then?
Yeah, my family has always been my biggest support system. My wife, my kids, my dad, and my mom. They've always encouraged me and showed me a lot of support. In 2014, I went to the Colt Starting USA National Finals. I qualified for that. Both my dad and my stepdad had went out there and watched me and helped support me in that. And so they've always been there by my side. My wife, she went to all kinds of competitions and shows and took time away from her work to go and be there with me and support me in what I do.
So do you think that having a strong support system is definitely one of the biggest aspects in if you want to become an entrepreneur and do what you love, even if it's not as a full-time job?
Yeah, you got to have somebody to support you, because if you don't, you're going to have those moments where things aren't going as you planned them to go, and you got to have somebody that is just going to keep encouraging you to push forward through those tough, difficult times.
What could be some advice that you would give to young women and young girls who have a passion for horses, or even just want to go out and be an entrepreneur themselves?
The downside to our industry, the equine industry, and a young lady or a young girl wanting to become a horse trainer is the fact that it is perceived as a man's profession. So a young lady or a young woman's going to have to work harder to prove herself, and she's probably going to need a very strong support system. But I would strongly encourage anybody, any young lady, to do it and just show the self-perseverance and the fact that it can be done, but they're going to have to work harder. And I would encourage anybody to do it, but to have the understanding of our general population perceives it as a man's profession, unfortunately.
Alrighty.
So we do have a couple questions
Cool.
in here. So Jennifer Jacobs, which it's actually, her name is Rosemary. I believe Jennifer is probably mom. She wants to know, what are the names of some of the horses you have trained?
Some of the names of some of the horses I've trained.
I think there's probably too many to list.
A jillion. I could name a few.
How about the ones you're training right now?
There's Troubadour, there's Blue, Booker, BB, Bobby. That's just to name a few. In my 20-some years of doing this, I've started roughly 2,000 head of colts.
Wow.
And trained probably at least another 12 to 1,500 other horses that were already started. So I could make a list a mile long of names of horses that I've trained.
So how many horses is a full schedule for you at a time?
That varies strongly. Typically during I call my winter months, the kind of the off season, anywhere between 8 and 12. During the summer, if I have an intern or a helper with me, last summer we had upwards of 19 that we were working every day. So if I'm by myself, I typically try not to have much more than about 14, because that's going to lead to about a 16-hour day.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you both very, very much for coming onto Facebook Live with us and talking to the girls. Do you guys have any more questions that you'd like to ask Steve? Kim wants to know when she can come and do chores so that she can ride.
About 5 o'clock tonight.
There you go. Yeah, that's all the questions I see right now. All right, well, thank you guys very much. I'm going to turn the camera back on me. Hey guys, so thank you for tuning in today. Tune in this afternoon at 2 p.m. We're going to be doing a Facebook Live on trees and windbreak, and fortunately, or maybe unfortunately, I'm not sure, it is extremely windy today, so we're going to see how effective those trees really are. And tune in on Sunday at 3 o'clock. We are going to be doing some troop activities for you volunteers. So have a wonderful day, stay safe, wash your hands, and we'll see you at 2 o'clock. Bye.